You know the sad truth about this video? Most of us still won't do it even after we watch it. What's going on, guys? It's Arkaden, and today we're going to be talking about efficiencies. So after starting this video up, I definitely realized, oh my gosh, there are way too many things to talk about when it comes to efficiency in epicseven. So we are going to break this video into a three-parter. So the word efficient, let's jump into that immediately, is achieving maximum productivity with minimum wasted effort or expense. The way that this most applies to us today, I think, works in the third definition, if you will, where it says preventing the wasteful use of a particular resource. What we're going to talk about today is basically how can we not waste resources and how can we be most efficient with every single day's worth of dailies, weeklies, monthlies. What are the best ways to be able to take advantage of each individual thing? The way we're going to do this is I'm going to talk about each thing, and as I do, I'll actually post down in the description below. So if you'd like to know, like, oh man, I want to be more efficient in my arena grind, or I want to be more efficient in the way that I use my fodder, all of those things, we'll just do a quick once over on a lot of those things just to give you an idea of how you may be wasting or you may be working towards a different goal than what you actually are hoping for. So again, today's goal, efficiency, and the biggest thing is how can I get the maximum bang for my buck out of every material in this game, so that way if one of them becomes more important, I actually have a bunch of it. So let's talk about when you actually decide to pick your character frame and what you're picking for your support units. One of the things that's super unknown to most new players when they first jump in is that when they start with Ross as their picture, it puts it as the picture and it makes it the support unit. You need to change that out. I currently have my support unit as ML because my ML may not be the fastest unit to get through stuff, but he's pretty fast and he always wins. Like, he actually will always get through everything. Another good choice that I have open for people is my Arbiter Vildred, and then I filled up the rest with kind of whatever. It's not as big of a deal. I ended up going with MLs except for SSB. A lot of them are actually, looking at them now, they're all geared, so they're all usable, and that's super nice. But the main one that most people are going to use is the one that has the crown next to it at the top. That's your main lead supporter. Change that out for something that can actually farm. Put in a Vildred if that's all you have. Put in whatever you would take to hit a bunch of mobs to be able to farm well on. That's efficient for every other person who's going to be using your account as a friend. So you should do it, and they should be doing it too. Something else to note as to why I also have ML up front is this reason and this reason mostly. When I'm farming, it makes the most sense to not put my Arbiter Vildred up front in my team, because we know that the up front in PvE also gets hit the most. If you didn't know that, now you do. That's intentionally done in PvE so you can put tanks and healers up front that you want to get hit more often. Doesn't work in PvP, doesn't work in RTA, obviously, because people are going to make choices. But in PvE, that is a priority in a lot of that PvE content. So I know that, and I know that I'm not going to usually farm with a tank. So I'm not actually going to put my farming character or my Arbiter Vildred or something else in a position that that is up front. So that means all fodder is up front. And if fodder is up front, that's going to be the first thing to die. So when my supporter comes in, a lot of times, a lot more times than not, my supporter comes in, now I've got ML up front. Well, ML does better by getting hit, getting crit, and then he retaliates on people. That's where you see your biggest bang for your buck with ML. So why is he my main supporter and my lead over Arbiter Vildred? Well, because I farm with my Arbiter Vildred. But if something's going to die in the lead position, I want it to be replaced with something like an ML who can tank and also retaliate a lot of damage back. Whereas if RB jumps in after my front guy dies, that RB might get knocked out a couple times. And if it's a really strong place, he might die twice. So again, both are super solid choices, but that is the main reason why I went with ML. The reason that you'll notice I have Xeno as my picture, I'm going to change that out at some point to something different, but for me, it's about misdirection and RTA. I don't want them to have any idea what I would actually pick, and so picking somebody like Xeno, I think he looks kind of cool. He sort of matches my banner, and really, I'm never going to build this character unless they decide to somehow fix him and make him amazing. So next, we're going to be talking about expeditions. We have an entire video on this, so it'll be posted here if you would like to click on that to take a look. It'll talk about teams and how to get through this. Let's talk about efficiency though here. There's a lot of different ways to be efficient when it comes to expeditions. Some of it is cleaning up your friends list. Some of that is making sure that you're actually doing your amount that you should be within one run, because you want to obviously try and get it done in one run where you don't end up wasting energy, because every time you go in and you get 3 chances, but every one costs you more energy. And again, Energy is a big deal in this game. It's a huge deal. You don't want to waste it. So trying to get to shore up your team to be able to do it in one run is super huge. However, when you're also putting up your own wanted posters, you need to be kind of cognizant and look around to see how other people, when you're fighting, because you're going to see a lot of the same people because a lot of them are your guildies and your friends in your expeditions or in the expeditions that you're fighting. So make sure that you're looking like, okay, is this person like living up to where they need to be? Should I be inviting them to this? Should I not? That's going to be incredibly efficient to be able to make your run better. As well as when you're putting up a wanted poster, you can decide, okay, do I need to do a level 1, level 2, or level 3? Efficiency for me, where I currently am at in the game, level 2s are where I would mostly send most of my stuff. I know that if it's a fire level 2, I can kind of just wait and 5 people will be able to crush it. If it's a grass or water level 2, I actually have to go in there and take my free fight fully to be able to make sure that it gets actually finished up. Here's the thing though, either way, you should be going in there because you need, for max efficiency, to get yourself the gold. There's gold attached to every run that you go in on this. So for example, on this green one, I know if I take a level 2, I'm going to want to invite all of the people. We'll get this started. We'll invite them all up. And then after I've done all of the inviting, again, this is kind of the lazy inviting. If you wanted to be more efficient, be more choosy. I've cleaned up a lot of my friends list, so I'm pretty confident in it. But one thing that I would do with this blooming snag lich is I would jump in. You'll notice it says free entry here. Well, a free entry actually equals gold for you. So you need to make sure that you go in because it costs you no energy. So you want to go in this case, for this boss, I'm actually going to do it and make sure that I actually get a good amount of points so I can actually help my team out. But if this was a brutal Ferris or like the red boss, you'll notice that when I went in to set that one up, here, I'll just show you real quick. When I went in to do that one, and I had one in progress here, I'm going to take 0 points in this. I will literally jump in, start the fight, yield immediately, take the gold, because I get like 14,000 gold just for jumping in and doing that. And then I actually still set it up for my other 5 people to jump in because I know they'll be able to kill this brutal Ferris, no problem. Again, efficiency would be get to know your teammates, get to know your friends. It's going to help you a lot on these, and it will help you to save energy. You want to get to the point where you're never, ever, ever using more than one run, because if you can get to the point of one run, then you're saving and being most efficient with your energy. When you're a newer player, you might have to use more, but we're going for efficiency. So with efficiency, as long as you're getting your minimums, you're good. Take that. Next up, we've got the Epic Pass. When you're taking a look at the Epic Pass, honestly, you want to buy this every single time. Even if you only buy the 900 Skystone one because you don't necessarily care about the skins, I will say if you do like skins and you want to be able to keep up with them, buying the 1800 Skystone is absolutely worth it, because otherwise you're going to end up having to buy for like $30 to $50 at a time, like these skins, when you end up going to buy these skin packs. Not worth it, I would say, in that sense, if you can get it in the Epic Pass. Otherwise, I understand people do like them. You're going to buy them. You're going to do the thing. They get it too. But right now, they're putting all of their skins in Epic Passes. And at this point, if you've done all the Epic Passes, you've actually been able to get enough skin tickets to be able to purchase the 3 skins that they've put out otherwise. Now, will Smilegate change this in the future and put out more skins? Hopefully, because I think a lot of us would definitely love to have more skins. And also, I think it would open up more monetary ability for them. But you can not have to monetize in this game, and just make sure that you're saving up your Skystones, and you can easily get every skin that exists in this game. So that's one of the things that is like super important. I would always pay the 900 Skystones because just like a battle pass or anything else in any other game, these premium rewards are huge. Just like in a battle pass though, they do offer you the ability to buy yourself levels. I'm not going to lie to you, chat. If you take a look at this and you look at the Epic Pass, it's all on stuff you should be using every day, every week anyways. I never even come close to not finishing an Epic Pass to level 30 within, honestly, usually it's like a week. And that's without putting in a lot of extra effort. It does not take very long. Do not spend your Skystones to give yourself extra levels. It's totally wasted. You can make up all of that just by doing the rest of your dailies. This is only a limited time offer, but it is actually going for like the next 6 months. So keep that in mind. It's super, super, super amazing, where all you have to do is have your Amazon Prime account and basically log in with Amazon, and they give you every 2 weeks, you're getting amazing, amazing things. So 20 leifs multiple times in here is by far the best. And as far as efficiency goes, you don't even have to pay money. This is already something that you would have already paid for. If you really want to get crazy efficient, where you're like, I'm not willing to spend anything because I'm super free to play. I don't have anything even in my life that I spend money on. I don't even know how I exist. if you're that kind of free to play, you can still get a free trial, jump on, and actually log in with Amazon to be able to actually get yourself one as well too. So even if it's making one just to get your 20 leifs every once in a while, those are the ones that are most important. The other ones are good, but they're not nearly as necessary, mostly because the gear is, you're going to get 4 random effects. So you have no idea how that's going to roll, but you can go for that too. And then if you really want to get crazy efficient, you could also start free trials just in like these like mid-month spots so that you can actually, in that 30-day period, get like 3 things in that one 30-day account, as opposed to just like, I get 2 because it's every 2 weeks, and so I make a new one every single time. So you can get crazy efficient on this one, but don't miss out on this one. This is a lot of free resources that you need. So when it comes to packs in the shop, it really comes down to how do you value your money, right? And I don't mean that as in like, are you good with money or bad with money? What I mean is, what is your particular monetary worth? Is it worth it to you to save 2 hours on something and spend $100? Like, I saved 2 hours, that was worth $100. There are people out there, not just necessarily very wealthy people, but people that would actually value not just their time at that, but their hobby time in particular at that value and say like, yeah, that's worth it to me. So keep in mind, I'm just going to give you the things that I think are actual like efficient packs that you could actually grab. For example, this one just came out. That's a 5-star hero for episode 2. Even as a new player, it's still too random. It's too random. You don't know what you're going to get. For $30, I would call that not a worthwhile buy. Moonlight packs, you only get 1 moonlight in this for $50. And yeah, you get 1,500 skystones, but again, there are ways to earn skystones. These are all renewable resources. In fact, every single thing in this pack is a renewable resource that you're going to just get inevitably playing unless you really want to roll the dice. These types of the ones are the ones you don't want. Ones that you might consider buying if you were trying to just be really cheap to play, but you're like, these are just high value. Monthly pack 1 and 2. Literally, it gives you some immediate skystones, which is nice. It gives you more energy, which you can never have enough of. And it gives you the ability to have buffs for higher hero experience, which is one thing. But more importantly, that battle gold 5% up is ginormous. Like literally, it makes such a difference with all the rest of the farming and all the other things that you're going to do. And for like the low price of like 15 a month for both of those packs, it's like 15 total for both. I would call that the biggest value and efficiency that you're going to probably get out of all these things. Now, are there newbie packs that you can buy that might be okay and have decent turnover? Yeah, I also know that the rank up packs are pretty solid as far as like efficiency and value go. But again, there's a lot of things where when it comes to things that are being added in that have an RNG aspect to them, those are obviously going to be less valuable than ones that don't have RNG attached to them, like leifs. Like you're going to get you're going to get gold, you're going to get energy, you're going to get those kinds of things out of that just because you know you're going to be doing farming with those. So you're at least guaranteed something for your investment at the end of the day. There are other ones where when you're investing for pulls and stuff, you're not guaranteeing yourself anything. It truly is a gamble. Skystone store, depending on how big of a whale or how often you have to farm, that's going to depend on, again, how you value this monetarily is going to determine whether or not these are actually worth it to you. So I can't really speak to it. These are not non-necessities. These are just additional things to add to your own personal efficiency based on your time that you play in the game. Whenever you're doing anything every single week, a lot of the stuff in this normal tab is just, it's not amazingly efficient. I mean, there's a few things in here that are pretty good if you have to buy them, but most of them are like, hey, you want some extra of this today? Like, here's a way that you can kind of grab that. Using leifs to buy more abyss guides that you get every single day, and later in the game you're going to be constantly just like sending to the chipper, not necessary. I would say you're better off waiting a day than you are actually spending if you want to save the leifs. There's some good stuff there. Transmit stones. Efficiency here would be just like pick up the things that are necessary. Pick up 2 Molagoras. That's a given. Maybe you need the ego fragment that week. Pick that up. You should always have at least a couple of those lying around. Always be grabbing these lesser artifact charms, but otherwise everything else is not necessarily an efficient use of your silver transmit stones. You don't get a lot of them. So depending on what stage of the game that you're at, I would say like if I had to put a priority order on these would be less important than these. I would say these Molagoras are by far the most important thing that you want to grab from this. Powder of Knowledge, once you jump into the Powder of Knowledge shop, This is going to completely depend on what you need. The efficiency in me would say, make sure you have at least one of everything when you start, because it gives you at least a lot of diversity, helps you fill that Pokédex out a little bit, but gives you some diversity. Once you know that you have the things that you kind of want and that you're like at a spot where you just have a lot of extra powder, it is important to pick up those bottles of knowledge, because there's a lot of limited artifacts that you're not going to want to pull a billion of, and this is the best way to be able to make your limited artifacts maxed out. So make sure you're able to buy those every single month. As far as efficiency goes, the biggest thing, make sure you have one of all the things, because you can take one of everything to 15, and that's already better than not having the artifact. It's just going to be 1,000 times better, and you get literally half of the full value to 30 at plus 15, and it costs way less materials to do. So getting things at minimum to 15 is extremely efficient. When you're in the friendship area, every single day you should be grabbing your 5 flags and your 40 energy. We'll talk about the flags here in a second, but like, there's no reason not to. It is completely free energy, completely free extra materials that we'll talk about here in a second on the flags. Oh god, so good. Make sure you get those. Ancient coins, I am obviously insanely inefficient with these. You want to be able to buy the lesser ring charms and the greater necklace charms, but because of what I get from other stuff, I just happen to have way too many of these. If you need to buy malicious bug tokens, buy them. The most efficient thing to do, honestly, especially at the end of the game, is to buy these charms as you need them. If you're early game, obviously, you can see that this is not like a material that people typically run out of or really need all that much. So if you want to roll some accessories early, you could. That used to be a thing. It's not that big of a deal now, because you can move into level 85 and 70 plus gear so fast that buying this stuff actually feels kind of wasteful. So I would avoid it. Finally, in conquest points, you're going to be looking at getting your Molagora every single week. Do not miss out on that one. It's super cheap. It's only 150. And then after that, I actually do end up getting all of the 40 energy. So I'll have 120 energy all the time. Just extra from this, because energy is so necessary in this game. And it's really easy to keep your conquest points high. Very easy to keep your conquest points high if you're making sure to grab those friendship flags and moving forward, which we'll talk about once we get into the arena section. Otherwise, all that you're getting in here is all of this gear. I would suggest grab every piece of gear that they give you. It's all, like, a lot of it's 88 gear, and make sure if you're going through like old seasons, like the old season packs that come in like this victory season or honor season or all those, make sure you check to see which ones are going to be most important for you immediately. The speed set one is super good. The immunity one has a chance to be pretty good. There's a lot of them in there that are good. The destruction one can be decent. All of them actually roll relatively odd because they have odd stat priorities, but they're 88 pieces. That's massive when you're at the beginning of the game. So the faster you can be doing arena and the more of those you get and the faster you get that gear is going to be more important than slates. It's going to be more important than anything else that's in this area, because now you can efficiently now put that gear on better characters that are going to help you farm more, giving you more ability to get more of these. You'll go up in rank. It's across the board just better. Also, this is where you end up getting a lot of your weapon charms and stuff. Weapons, helmets, basically your left side gear plus boots. So it's all really good stuff. Make sure you're getting all of those things all the time. Continuing on, when we pull up the hero tab, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of things under here. And these efficiencies are going to be so based on how you play the game. So transmission, for one, that's a way for you to be able to take characters, fodder, penguins, all the different things that you might necessarily not need anymore, and you can actually transmit them for more gold and potentially silver transmit stones. Depending on how many things you need is kind of going to depend on what you actually do. So if I need a bunch of 2-star fodders to make more dogs, to make more 3-stars, so I can continue to make more 6-stars in my game, I probably don't want to fodder or transmit rather all of those 2-star characters. But if you're at the point in the game where I am, where I actually don't need to continue to put 6-stars in all the time because I don't have the molas to be able to actually bring them all up, so there's no necessity there, then to me, they're actually like those 2-star fodders from like friendship pulls are just way more valuable to me as just gold. So it really just depends on where you're at in the game. That'll help you decide on what to transmit. There are some like hard rules of thumb. I would say penguins, if you can avoid using them as much as possible, do. If you want to use them, feel free. Like they're an easy way, and I've done it before many times, to just be able to bring a character up to 60 because you just really wanted to play that character right in that moment. They do just give you a lot of gold back by selling them. So if you can just slowly over time just like grind out those levels just by getting experience somewhere else, do that. I think it's a great way to do it. But all in all, you do get silver transmits from the 3-star penguins. You get a ton of gold extra from the 3s, 2s, and 1-star penguins. It's a good way to be able to bring gold up. If I take a look at the sanctuary, which we'll take a look at here in a second, there's some spots where you can actually like create more things to use in transmission if you're trying to make more gold and more of those stones. Next up, you have storage. Storage is going to be where your stuff goes when you've overcapped any of your things. So when you start seeing that your storage is getting full, if you want to actually maximize your account, you want to be emptying that storage and utilizing all of those characters as much as you can. If there's things where you're like, man, I really just want to hold on to that, I don't want it to fill up my inventory anymore, put it in the waiting room. That's what the waiting room's there for. Put things in the waiting room that need to be there, that are going to maybe stick around in your account for a while, but they may not have any extra use. My efficiency way of using the waiting room, and this is again my way, I keep one of every 4-star ML that I get, and also I'll keep characters like extra souls that I've picked up from doing the soul event more than once, and the extra Yunas I had just for that I didn't end up turning into a second 6-star Yuna just because I didn't need to, and I didn't need to go through the entire event. But all those extra things that are taking up space in my normal hero inventory, big wastes. I don't need to see those. I literally, they're not going to ever do anything in my account. They're mostly there just as a status symbol for fun, right? So those types of things are the things I keep in my waiting room. The reason for the 4-star MLs is because we've obviously seen now with Cesarado, and I believe it was Carmen back in the day, when they do nerf them, they do require that you keep a second copy of them. And I've accidentally put my extra Cesarados and I've used them as fodder on other things because my normal Cesarado and my regular like Zerato may have already been at triple S, right? My regular Zerato wasn't actually at triple S. Whatever. I've had this conversation many times before. The point is, for efficiency's sake, it makes sense if you want to be able to take advantage of the reality that you know when Smilegate makes a mistake with an ML4, if you have your one, utilize that one. But if you happen to be like me, where you had a ton of Zeratos lying around and you got your first Champ Z and you loaded them up with all the regular Zeratos, now you have a triple SC Zerato that only technically had one in it, then when I used my next Cesarado that I pulled as fodder for another thing, that's what you should be using those 4-stars for, is fodder. But when I had to use it that way, it actually screwed me over because I didn't have an extra Cesarado, so I wasn't able to exchange it for another character. So keep that in mind. That's why I use it that way. I think it's an efficient way to just be like, you know what? I want to fodder this character, but I'm not going to because I know sometimes Smilegate doesn't. And it only means I have to hold on to one extra copy because they're only going to give me one extra copy to turn into a book to trade in. So that's why I do that. When it comes to teams, I think teams are actually a worthwhile thing when it comes to efficiency, and it's worthwhile to name them the way that you want to see them. So I know for me, it's important. I just started changing these over actually myself for both A13, B13, and W13. You'll notice I have an arena team, and I've also got 2 farm teams, one of which has fodder on it, and one of which is just like one that I'm trying to friendship level 10 people on. And so when I think things are going to be a little bit more difficult, I'll put those characters in just to be able to like gain some more friendship. You'll notice I have an arena team, which this is my auto comp arena team, but I also have a cleave team down here so that I know like, oh, which one am I using? I know that I have a cleave one and stuff too. I should probably rename some of these to be able to make them even more like palatable to each individual thing. But I think it's huge to buy the extra teams, name them what you want to, and try and keep them organized for yourself. So that way when you have to pick to go into anything, it's an easy, okay, I click it and I'm good. I click it and I'm good. Like there's no thought process to it. So that's super good. When you jump into the final part of Hero, which is the actual hero inventory, there's going to be a lot of opinions on this. A lot of opinions. The whole system itself is not horribly efficient. It's decently nice, but it could definitely like use a few improvements as far as like the way that you can manage it and be able to see it better. And then also just even having a number like this, I think the only reason it's nice is that it forces you to actually do stuff sometimes with your characters, because it's so easy for us to grind and get tons of different characters. And then if we didn't have limits, we would actually never go back and actually do anything with them until it was like, oh my gosh, this is just a huge mess. So it's almost like the efficiency of this that Smilegate added in here was like, we're doing this for your benefit. We know you don't want to have a completely like it where this becomes such a mess that you don't even want to look at it anymore. And if it gets to the point where you don't want to look at it, you don't want to play their game. And so I think that's why they've put a lot of caps and stuff on this. So after starting this video up, I definitely realized, oh my gosh, there are way too many things to talk about when it comes to efficiency in epicseven. So we are going to break this video into a 3-parter. Hope to see you guys in part 2 and part 3, and we'll have those out as soon as we possibly can. Have a wonderful rest of your guys' day. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you've never actually been here before. Glad to have you. We really do appreciate your guys' time and love hearing from you. So see you guys in the next one. Peace, dudes.